Come on, man. You know what you're made of. Get up. You got this. Everything in life is worth fighting for.
And now live from
Dallas, Texas.
Well, welcome. This is going to be a great day. It is March 21st, right here in Dallas, Texas. And we're going to talk about today finding your authority. Okay? So, just to recap briefly, we talked about number 1 on the 7 spiritual laws of success. Number 1, you must expand your horizon or your vision. Number 2, to get wisdom. And we talked about Proverbs chapter 4, the entire chapter, because it's a great chapter on wisdom. And number 3 is find your authority. What do you control? That's what you need to find. Everything in your life right now is a product of what you've already controlled. You see, you have created and you have caused manifestation. You know, I heard a great I had heard a great thing this weekend, and it was this. We are all self-made. The problem is only the successful will admit it. That means that the unsuccessful will not admit that they're the ones that have caused their own problems and issues. So, if you don't like your harvest, the harvest that you're getting, then you need to change the seeds that you're planting. Now, how ridiculous would it be for a farmer to go out and plant orange trees, and then when he receives oranges, he throws a fit. And he falls down on the ground and he cries out to God, God, why'd you do this to me? And then he gets into this self-pity of, nobody loves me, everybody hates me, everything's going wrong, and I don't know why. It must be God. He's torturing me with this. Well, you know, that's been promoted by a bunch of devils, by the way. Doctrines of devils. Wrong teaching. We know in Genesis that everything, as long as the earth remains, everything is going to be about seed time and harvest time. So today, we're going to get in to your authority. You see, folks don't really understand what their authority is, what they have charge over. They think that they just go through life and stuff happens. Well, guess what? Stuff doesn't just happen. Everything is based on a seed. Everything that you're putting in your mind will produce a harvest. You see, it'd be illegal for it not to produce a harvest. The old farmer in the example, he's planted the orange seed, gets an orange tree, gets a fruit of oranges, but complains that he doesn't have apples. That doesn't make any sense. Well, it's the exact same way in our lives. Exactly. You must plant the right seeds. So today we're going to go through some things, and I'm going to show you some foundational truths that you will receive from this recording. Now, we're going to start this in Luke chapter 10, verse 19, because this illustrates the best story there is. So let's get into this. Here it is, Luke 10, 19. Behold, I give unto you power to tread upon serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. All right, let's stop right there. That's one particular translation, and the King James Version really does not translate this word correctly of what we want to see here, and that's this. And I found this over in the English Standard Version because after I looked this up, I went on this search, and here's what it says in this version. 19, behold, I have given you authority to tread upon serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall hurt you. All right, there's a big difference, and let me tell you what this difference is. Power and authority have two very different meanings. Just because you have power does not mean you have authority. If you have the authority, you automatically have the power. Remember, we are covering the 7 spiritual laws of success. And here's the part that's very, very important. You know, the disciples were all excited because they came back. And let's go in verse 17, Luke 19:17. And the 72 returned with joy, saying, Lord, even the demons are subject unto your name. And he said unto them, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. Verse 19, behold, I have given unto you authority to tread upon the serpents and the scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall hurt you. Verse 20, nevertheless, do not rejoice in this that the spirits are subject unto you, but rejoice that your names are written in heaven. These two symbols of the authority of trampling over snakes and scorpions, these were both well-known symbols for evil. The snake is a symbol for Satan in Genesis chapter 3, verse 1 through 15, and 2 Corinthians 11:3, Revelations 12:9, 14 and 15 and 20. For a parallel to Luke's statement is in Psalms 91:13. And here's the power, and here's the authority. Now, check this out. The perfect tense of the verb have given you authority refers to the authority already given to the disciples, not to some future authority, such as in Acts 1:8. It is likely, however, that Luke's readers would include Acts 1:8, and we'll get there in just a minute. But let me tell you what this power and what this authority is, because in the Greek, this word authority means something completely different. It's a different Greek word from the word power. And when the King James translated this, it uses power in both places. But they're two different Greek words. Now, see, you wouldn't know this unless you searched out a matter. And that's what kings are supposed to do. You know, you and I are both, we are kings and priests unto God. That's in Revelation chapter 1, verse 5, I believe. But this word authority in Greek is pronounced exousia. And this other word is dunamis, for power. Now, why is this important? Well, again, just because you have power does not mean you have the authority. And we're seeing this right now in America. You're going to find out pretty quick who has the authority and who has the power. So check this out. So this first picture that I'm going to show you, this is the hierarchy of authority with the rulers. Now, look at this. This word chief and chieftain, now that says chieftain, not thiefdom. Now, what they've set up that we're living in is a thiefdom, but that's okay. We're going to change that. And then you have the chief shepherd, the council member, the elder, leader, the emperor, the leader head, the king, and it goes all the way through man of God, nobleman, official, overseer. Let's get all the way down here to this ruler guy. Ruler. It says authority, ethnic ruler, heir, lamp, lord, powerful ruler, ruler judge, ruler shepherd, ruler shield, ruler throne. It goes through all this. Let's go to this next picture. What I'm doing is I'm giving you a picture of authority here. Now, as you can see, we've kind of opened this up just a little bit on the status of a person. And in administrative law, what they've done is that they've changed the name of the person, but that's okay. We'll handle that at a later date. But I want to show you who's really in authority. So the top one is a clean person. And the next one is common people. Common people. General people? You mean like that word that starts with a capital W, we the people? Yeah, that's right. We the people are in authority. And then it goes through and says the common status of a person, female, aristocrat. It goes down, come on down to free person. And we get down to great person, high status person, lay person, lowly person, little one. Let's get down to person of authority. Oh, look here, person of authority. Notice right underneath that person of authority is servant, but we'll get to that in a minute as well. And let's open that person of authority, and that is a bodyguard, an officer, chamberlain, royal enforcer, a head waiter, leader, master, princess, administrator, supervisors. Administrator. Look where they are on the list of authority. Temple commander, very important person. And then from the leader, you go back to a chief, a chieftain. You see how that works? Now watch this. Some of you are going to start to see this authority thing, and you're going to like it. So when we go to the person of authority, and it breaks down with the bodyguard and so forth. But what I want you to do is come down to servant. Have you ever heard of the word before, a public servant? Well, let's look and see what a public servant would actually be. A cupbearer, a doorkeeper, a female servant, a household servant, low temple servant, maid servant status, male servant, household, male servant. Okay, come on down. A slave. Oh my goodness, look, a slave. Wow. Well, that's kind of interesting. And if you come over further to the right here, you see the chief, chieftain, come all the way down to leader and shepherd. Okay, well, let's go to the next little slide here. We're looking for authority, and what authority you have. Okay, that's that slide. Keep going. Oh my goodness. Let's look at this. Now we've expanded this a little bit, so let's look at the leader. You have the man of God, then you have the nobleman underneath him, and under that, then you have the official. That's kind of interesting. Let's do this. Let's go up. Let's go back to leader here in the middle of the page, and let's go all the way up to the top. Chief, chieftain, chief shepherd, council member, elder, leader, emperor, leader, head, king. See all this? And then as we come down, we go to official. City official? Wait a minute. The city official is under man of God? That's interesting. That kind of messes up not only theology, but some of the things we've been told. Official, a eunuch. Well, there's a lot of those in. I'll stay off that. Okay, high official, a judge, a magistrate, an officer, an official, uncertain, religious, regional administrator. But here are all these people here. Town clerk, kind of low on the list there, but still in the list. But if you notice who is above all of this, and that is we the people. Well, guess what? You are a king and a priest of your own life. So what authority do you actually have? Well, let's go back to this authority. You have power over here to the left and authority above. Possession, authority, a keeper, a judging authority, authority name, and a ruling authority. Now, here's what I want for you to understand. I'm going to show you that you've been given authority over your life. You know, I heard something yesterday that I thought was really great, and I wrote it down because I was listening to a tape, and the guy had referred back to something that Earl Nightingale said. And let me pull this up real quick. And he said this. He said, "We are all self-made. The problem is, only successful will invent it." And when you think about that, that's exactly right. We're all self-made, but only the successful will admit it. Because the losers in life won't admit that they have made miserable situation. So, do you have power? Oh, you have so much power. You don't know how much power you have, but over the course of the next several months, if not years, I'm going to teach you about your authority, about your power, about the vibration that you have and manifestation that you can demonstrate in your life. You know, there's a term called the proof is in the pudding. Well, what are you manifesting in your life? What are you bringing into your life? That's going to be the question. And that's the most important question. So as you see that you have authority, and this word, this Greek word, is something that you can hang your hat on as far as who gave you the authority. Who died and left you king? Well, I got an answer for that, and his name is Jesus, the Messiah. That guy, the guy that hung on the cross for my sins and your sins. And when he rose again, you know, they started that lie from the beginning. Do you know that was the first fake news when Jesus rose from the dead? They started this fake news. What did they do? They paid people off to say that maybe his disciples came to get him. Well, look, this word, it can refer to a state of control over something. It can also indicate a potential to command, to control, or to govern. You need to be not running from your problems, but you need to be ruling and reigning over your problems. Further, it can point to a right to control or command in Mark 11:28. You know, in Mark 11:20, it talks about where Jesus walked past the fig tree and cursed it, and the next day it died, and there's old Peter. Man, I love Peter. He just jumped out there on Front Street again and said, "Look, Master, the tree in which you've cursed is dead at the root." You know, Jesus just turned to him, and, you know, I can imagine how he said it to Peter. And it was probably, "Have faith in God," instead of a passive, "Well, have faith in God, Peter." Thought that was interesting. The word can also refer to a sphere in which power is exercised or to a means of exercising power. The related verb means to exercise authority. So what kind of power do you really have? Well, I'm going to tell you. You know, if I ask you to think of a brain, you would immediately think of this picture. But if I ask you to think of your mind, there's not a picture for the mind, because the mind is made up and has to deal with your soul. So your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. It's every cell in your body is your mind. And it's hard for us to picture what a soul is or what a mind is because we can't see it. And remember, you think in pictures, by the way. So you don't think in DOG. When I say dog, you think of actual pictures, but you have absolute authority over your mind. Your brain and your mind are not the same thing. They may work together, but they're not the same thing. If I ask you to picture your brain, you could do that pretty easily, but when I ask you to picture your mind, that's where it gets fuzzy. Your mind is, again, every cell in your body. It takes time, it takes effort for you to change your mind. Now you can start by making a decision to make a change in your life. You can't change until you make a decision. You have to decide. You have to have definiteness of purpose to change your life. To start, you need to know what you have authority over. Whatever you put in your mind is what you will get out of your life. So start here and make a decision to change your mind and do what it takes to be successful. You know, successful people just do the things that unsuccessful people aren't willing to do because it takes effort. You must stretch and apply and deal with unpleasant things in order to grow. Stretching takes effort. It takes energy. And most people don't know that their entire body is nothing but energy. Let's find out how much power you really have before we get into these issues on growth. you can't even question authority until you know where it comes from and what the chain of command are in that particular system. Again, power and authority are two different meanings. Just because you have power doesn't mean you have authority. But if you have authority, you automatically have the power. You have the power today to change your life. And the first thing that is required is a decision. So make a decision today that you are going to be a winner. That's all it takes. You must make the decision first before anything else happens. Then you can be able to chart your life in the right way and at the right time. You know, one of the decisions that you may want to make is to read the book, Think and Grow Rich, and to follow us here each week, because we're teaching success principles for a reason. We hire people to come work for us, to sell with us, and in order to be a master professional salesperson, you've got to keep yourself sound. You must have a sound mind. And that mind is everything in you. You know, your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. And when you have good mental health, and when you know who you are, and when you know that you have authority over everything you think, when you know that, you'll begin to take your life back and start doing great things in your life. If you want to be a winner, join us. We'll help you to win each and every day. I'm Joseph Farley, and I'll see you here next time on The Joseph Farley Show.